Hi everyone, so welcome to another academic video. This week I thought I would chat a little bit about how, as a UK lecturer, I balance research and in particular going to conferences during semester time. So how do I teach and at the same time go to research conferences? As a university academic, and if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Caroline, I'm a physics-based lecturer here in the UK. As a academic, it's really important to attend and share our research findings at conferences. And for me, that's always a highlight of the job. You know, it's lovely to have undertaken a period of research, quite often in a team with either colleagues or students, and then to be able to go and share our research findings at a central conference event. Now, the challenge comes is how do you balance going to conferences and presenting your research and discussing about your papers and your findings at the same time as maintaining your teaching provision or your teaching portfolio within the university. So as a lecturer, I'm on a contract within the university where I have to do research as part of my job and teaching as part of my job. And obviously right now we're in the middle of semester, so I am in full teaching mode. I've got classes where I teach the first years, I teach the MSc students, I'm in the laboratory classes. You know, this is a busy semester. However, this period of time is also when several of the key conferences happen for my particular field in physics. And so as an academic, it's really important that I don't miss out on presenting research and hearing the work of others. Conferences are such a good place to find out about the research of other people, to network, to build new collaborations. I need to make sure that I'm going to these conference events. So how do you do it? How do you juggle both? Well, I think all academics will have different strategies. At my university, we get our teaching load, so I can see what I'm going to be teaching. I know what's coming up in the semester ahead. And at that point, when I get it, I can put in requests for periods where I think I might need to be away at a conference. So obviously I can't take every week off in the semester. I have to fulfil my teaching duties. However, if there was a clash between a key conference and a lecture, I can make a note of that, and timetabling might see if they could rearrange so I could have my lecture at a slightly different time. Or as an academic, this is where it's really important to have good colleagues, because sometimes we will cover each other's classes. So if I have a key conference event that I really cannot miss, hopefully one of my lovely colleague professors or lecturers will be happy to cover my class for me that week. And in return, I then sort of owe them a class back, if you like. You know, it's kind of like a tit for tat system. If somebody covers one of my lectures, I then most likely will cover a class back for them at some point if they also need it. Now, what some academics do is they try to schedule their conference travel to not interfere with their teaching. And that can be quite tough. Sometimes a colleague will be teaching first thing in the morning and getting on a plane in the afternoon to go to an event. They'll be at the event for 2 or 3 nights, they'll get the plane back, and often the day that they land, they then go back maybe into the lecture theatre that day or the next day to continue to deliver their classes. So it can be a bit of a juggling and a balancing act. What I have noticed is that obviously we've had this horrible global pandemic situation, and over that period of time, conferences have needed to go more into a virtual online format. And as an academic, that's actually allowed me, if you like, to attend more events during semester. If I look back then over the last couple of weeks, I've actually been able to juggle attending conferences and meetings in Japan, London, one was up in Harrogate, one was with some collaborators in Spain. I've got another one coming up in London in a week's time. So all of these events have been virtual events, which has meant that I can literally sit in my desk, either at home or in the office, log on, attend the event, and then go back to teaching or back to whatever activity I'm having to do at the university that day. It takes out the travel time. And I think there's pros and cons of this. Obviously, without the travel time, I can fit a lot more, if you like, into that working period. I can go to like an international conference, between 11 and 12, and then have my lunch and then be teaching or in the lecture theatre for that afternoon at 1 o'clock. I can squeeze more into my working day. What's hard about all these virtual and online events, of course, is that I think we miss a little bit of the networking. I know organisers are really trying to help make us chat more in these virtual events, and there's like avatars and you can mix in different rooms. But I think actually nothing's going to really beat meeting face to face, having a coffee and getting to chat to people in a slightly more relaxed setting. But in terms of seeing the technical knowledge, seeing what other people are working on and researching, online conferences are, I think, a very effective way of transferring that kind of technical knowledge. So this semester I have been very fortunate in the fact that I've been able to go to online conferences at the same time as continuing to teach. So really, I've not had to plan, if you like, as much as I normally would. Normally I would have to plan really quite far in advance which conferences I wanted to go to and if that was going to have any impact on my teaching. This year, less so, which has been good. That's a good thing. I think it's also made things a little bit cheaper. I have not had to spend some of my research grants on plane tickets or the travel. Most of these conferences have had reduced tuition, reduced entry fees. It's been probably more cost effective attending online conferences. But I have missed seeing some of my collaborators in person. I have missed going to actually hear talks, because I think one of the key benefits of going in person to a conference is that you're focused more, if you like, on that event. So when I'm at home and I am watching a conference event, it's very easy to be online, to be listening, but to be doing something else at the same time. I could be listening to an online conference and I could be prepping for a class, or I could be, going through some data. And on the one hand, multitasking is awesome and maybe I get more done. Or on the other hand, maybe I would do better if I had my attention focused solely on the particular talk that I was tuning in to listen to. So what I've been trying to do is to, when I go to these online conferences, pick out a number of talks and then treat it as if I am in the conference room. So not being distracted by other things going on, but actually just kind of zoning in and really enjoying and listening to that particular talk. And the other thing, of course, that can be sometimes tricky is sometimes these online conferences, and I had this a few weeks ago, they give you access to the conference material and the conference recordings for a number of weeks. And what I found was that the week of the actual conference, I was very busy at the university. I had a lot of teaching that week, and I was running open days. So actually accessing the material live as it was happening at the conference, I struggled. Now, I can now, of course, go and access all these online recordings that the conference have made available to me, which is fabulous. But now I'm having the challenge, if you like, of when do I put aside the time to log into the conference to watch these recordings? Because again, that immediate pressure of the conference has kind of gone, if you like, and now I'm being pulled in other directions. I'm being pulled again, maybe to go into the laboratory classes. And actually I need to make sure that I prioritise sitting down and watching those lecture and conference recordings to make sure I still see what I want to see out of the conference. So yeah, it's tricky. I'm very lucky. Most of my conferences happen in such a way that I can maintain my teaching and I can juggle my teaching at the same time as going to the conferences. For me, it's just making sure that I have enough time to focus and to process and to action what I see at the conferences. Because often you see something at the conference and you want to jump on it, or you think that's a really interesting research idea, I kind of want to work that up, or maybe email the person if I've got some ideas we could collaborate together. And it's finding your time to do that whilst you've got all these other activities happening mid-semester, because ultimately the teaching always needs to happen. If I need to walk into a lecture theatre and teach that day, then I need to make sure I'm ready for the teaching. I can always potentially put one of these online conferences to one side and maybe watch that material later. So yeah, it's finding the balance. And it's a new way of finding the balance, especially with things going online. It's as a different arena to be working in. But yeah, it is a juggling act. I would love to know, do you have to juggle maintaining your research profile and going to conferences during semester? Do you have any particular tactics? Do you put like a do not disturb sign on your door when you're at the conference? Do you prefer to go to physical conferences? Or are you happy now that everything's moving into this kind of virtual or hybrid virtual and live platform? Let me know in the comments. At some point I might do a bit of a video stock take and try to help group some of these videos together. But in the meantime, I hope you are safe and well. I hope you're enjoying whether you're working in a university or not. I hope things are going well for you. Have a lovely week and I will see you next Monday. Bye.